Jambalaya. Bay leaves. I'm just gonna put one, two, that's enough. Get my, oh, that's good. Making a seafood one, but I know some people can't hang with the seafood. Got my boater's card. Can't show you the name though, but I got my boater's card. Old trainee card. Electrician, electrical stuff. Just the life. We live, things we learn as we get old, as we grow. And we hope to get those things before we get a certain age where we can't do stuff. Boy, they make it a battle for us, everybody in this world. But I thought I'd go live and just cook this real quick in the morning. Got my coffee. This is going to be something I eat for lunch, probably. I might have a bowl for like a chill or something. Got my coffee. Trying to keep this thing from tipping over here. I should tie something to it. I should tie a weight to it so it doesn't tip over. Fishing weight or something. It's kind of off balance. Maybe it'll be fine as long as I don't knock it over. Have to do like a ninja. Got 2 bay leaves in here. Got my pepper. I'm ready to go. And I need everybody to sleep. Most of my subscribers are probably asleep or just getting up to go to work, which is all good. Like I said, I do my lives at good times, so I do not expect everybody to be able to be up in the live half the time. But when I start getting more fishing again, I get back out there, you'll be able to see more. Thanks for coming in the chat. Whoever dropped the like and took on off, they saw the notification. And I'm just hanging. I'm trying to cut this. Can't see it. I'm cutting it off camera because it's coming off. Cut this. Yeah, that's it. Oh no. Oh no. What's going on here? Got stuff going on up in here. Just spilled something. Good thing y'all can't see. Oh, I spilled this all over. It get too hot before I cut these up. Man, like I said, I use this man, so I just want to get these cut up before this water gets too hot. Before this water gets too hot. I know some people don't like seafood, but I like shrimp. So. And I've already made it before, but I didn't do this on live. So I'll make it this morning. Just the already prepared kind. It'll take me, I've done it the other way. It'll take a minute when I do the other one. Cook the rice and do all that. It's too kind. Drop 2 babies in there. Time it down. I like to time it when I cook this stuff, so I don't overcook it. What's gonna make a salad? But the jambalaya, drink my coffee. And yeah, there's turkey sausage in here. Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I was like on the other live, I'm not a big fan of pork, but I'll eat it. So I'll eat salami and stuff. If I can, I'd rather eat like turkey or chicken or something else. Put some gumbo file in there. Give it some heat. A little bit of gumbo file. If y'all know about that gumbo file, it kind of gives it that heat. Some people don't like it. They like other stuff to make it hot, a little hot. I'll put a little gumbo file and a little cayenne in there. It's gonna be pretty. I'll make it pretty hot right there. It's gonna be pretty hot. Just that little bit is gonna make it pretty. Got the shallots. Oh gosh, this guy over here. Got the movie going. Got that movie, old 80s movie Sniper running on here. Well, it's Sniper 3. I don't even think I've even seen that one. I didn't even know they had a Sniper 3 movie. The first one was really great. It was really good. Yeah, gotta have the shallots for the flavor. I always try to put the vegetable part in last. The real vegetable part kind of in last. And the shrimp's like the very last thing. Yeah, the shrimp is like the very last thing I put in here. So I don't like the like peppers and the onion like to like disappear. You cook it too long, it like almost like it just disappears into the food. Like you don't. It's like it doesn't. Just it basically like disintegrates. I don't like that part when it does that. I do not like when it does that. Yeah, I put all kinds of onions on all kinds of flavors. Green onion, red onion, shallots, put all kinds of flavors here. It's down there. It's ready to boil already. I don't want it to cook too fast. Before I get everything in there. Oh, this is get my garlic real quick. even though that stuff comes instant, already made for you. No, you gotta put your own garlic in like fresh. You gotta put some real stuff in there. You can't just be like it's all store. You gotta put real garlic in there. You can't. Some people like their stuff a little more bland, so they don't want they don't want that garlic in there. But not me. I gotta add at least 2 cloves in there. At least. At least. This is basically gonna be like lunch pretty much. Probably gonna eat this for like a couple days. Be meals for like a couple days. Hands gonna be smelling like garlic for the rest of the day. Everybody does the garlic different. Some people crush it and kind of chop it, dice it. I just got to the point I just do it my own way with hands and knife. Sometimes I'll cut it with scissors. I get all different size pieces of garlic in there. Small, little, big. Trying to get this little green part out because that's technically not good for you to eat. That green part, it's gonna grow into the plant. Technically, you don't want to eat that part, but it's kind of funny that we eat the chives and they kind of grow like that. The green onion, we eat that part of it. I guess when it's close to the center of the garlic, it's supposedly not. It's got some stuff in it. It's like kind of not good for you. It's kind of not good for you, they say. But I got some, and just cause we put some dried chives in here. Yeah, I like lots of little flavors and stuff in mine. So we're gonna put chives in there too. Dried chives because I don't have it. The fresh ones I have aren't very big, and now it's winter time, so I'm just leaving them to survive outside, to grow. I started those last spring or 2 springs ago, but they've just been fighting and struggling, and they're just now getting like comfortable. So I'm not gonna trim them, cut any fresh ones from outside in the wintertime. See what's on my perfect. Then we're gonna do our celery. Simple way, just chopping it. I just cut it. Scissors. Some stuff is just easier instead of chopping it with a knife all the time. If I was in a restaurant, okay, I'd probably use a knife for everything that and do it a certain way. But we at home, it's homemade. Eat that part. Celery. Yeah, I let it get warm and then I start cutting it. I don't just dump it all in together because I want to be able to. I don't want the celery to be so soft when it's done, to where it's just smushed. So I'm like, let it get warm first a little bit. Get all this stuff in, and then I'm gonna turn it up to a boil, and I'll cut the onion there. I like big pieces of onion. So. Yeah, it's like all different sizes of cut penny anymore. I'm gonna try to do it all. Yeah, it's one whole other onion. So I like really like to get flavors inside the jambalaya. If I make it, if it's just, even if it's like the instant in a box, I want to make sure there's like all different kind of flavors in mine. I like to feel like I'm eating something. Same thing when I make chili. I like to feel like I'm eating something like with the vegetables. I try to leave them kind of bigger and smaller for the flavor. And I actually add dill sometimes to mine, which is weird, but I'll put a little dill actually in there in my jambalaya. I have to add a little water. Yep, I'm gonna add a little bit of water. Because now I put so much stuff in here. Put so much stuff in here. It's warm, it's trying to evaporate off. I don't have to totally do that yet. Get my measuring. Not quite ready for that to do that yet. Not quite ready for it. There it is. That's part of it too, and it's reducing down is to make sure it's just enough water in there so the rice and everything comes out when you get ready to really turn the heat up. And it'll come out really right when it reduces down. Well, there's no worm in this one. The last pepper I had a big cut worm inside of it. He had got inside, and when I cut it open like this, big old green worm was in there just curled up because this had been in the refrigerator and he was cold. I was upset. I was mad I lost my bell pepper. I was mad about that. I said, man, you ruined my whole bell, almost the whole bell pepper. I was only able to save part of that bell pepper. That little bugger got inside that bell pepper, had a feast on the inside of the bell pepper. He ate like all that part. And he was like curled up underneath here. And when I picked it up, he just bloop, fell right now. I said, man, little cutworm got in there. I don't care if the seeds are in there. Yeah, those cutworms, man, they love tomatoes too. They'll tear your tomato. They get the ones getting the grass. They get in the grass, but they'll get on your food, your garden, just tear up stuff. Get on your tomato plants and stuff. Those different caterpillars from those moths and stuff, and they go to town. They should pretty much say, nah, we live here. We live in this garden. You just growing stuff for us to eat. Nature. Anything I'm forgetting? Dash oregano. The time. Yeah. Gotta grind here because the time when it's warm. A little oregano. Just a little bit. Cilantro. I always love cilantro. I'm just using dried cilantro. Yeah, we're gonna squeeze the knife to get this cap off. We good. Just some organic dried cilantro. It's a little more expensive. Flavor's pretty good though, even though it's dried. And then we got sage. So this stuff kind of already has this stuff in it. But I just like to put a little bit of like a little bit of like fresh out of the like a container, even if it's dry. Just this they put some preservative kind of in that stuff, so it kind of makes it not as flavorful unless you have some fresh stuff. A little bit of thyme in there, and that's it. I think. Oh yeah. Even though I got gumbo file in there and a little bit of cayenne, I'll put regular pepper. Go dash a regular pepper in there. Just a little bit because it's gonna be pretty hot already. But obviously, pepper has like a different type of hot to it. Let's see. Yeah, that's everything. Stirring. And the last thing will be the shrimp. But I'm not gonna put that in for a minute. So I get this kind of mixed in. Get this all mixed in. If you could smell this right now, whoosh, like the whole house is about to smell. I'm pretty sure it's gonna wake somebody up too. Because usually when I cook something, someone comes down and like, "Are you cooking or something?" Because they can smell the herbs and the spices and stuff like coming up through the vents. It's like, "Are you cooking something down here? Are you cooking something down here, Ren?" Like, yeah. It usually stirs them up because they smell the food. Good food cooking. Now we can get it to a boil now. We can get it to a boil now. Let's see if this bag is good. Okay. Didn't use on the turkey sausage, so I'm putting it in a Ziploc bag. I'm gonna freeze it for later. Yeah, breakfast or something another day. Oh, I gotta do this too. Over here. Get that ready. It's boiling. I might have to add a little water to it. Always add the meat in first because you want that to cook first, so that's why I just let it sit in there first. Veggies last because the veggies only take 10 minutes to really get soft. And shrimp only takes like six minutes and it's done. And you just get it to a boil. Cover it. And you just cover it and then turn it down and let it do its thing. And then let it do its thing. Hey, Caden. Thanks for stopping in and dropping a like. Get that broom and clean up a little bit. Some stuff kind of flew. Some stuff flew, man. That's the thing. You get to cooking. I just don't even worry about it, and then I sweep it up after. After I kind of got everything in the pot, and then kind of have to do the mop the food, kind of like wipe the floor in the spot. When I worked at the food place, oh man, cleaning those mats and stuff where the chefs would cook, and then they started letting me cook a little bit. Oh man, there'd be all kind of food in those mats, in the they have at McDonald's and the restaurants and stuff. And You find a whole piece of onion and all kind of stuff on the mat and those little whole mats. And then you gotta take the mats and literally run the mats through the dang dishwashers because they'd be so full of food from the chef's cooking. We're almost done. We're almost done with it, man. Definitely be posting this one. Just kind of hanging out, cooking. Everybody likes food. At least I think. I like a good meal. This one of my favorites is jambalaya and then shrimp and then gumbo. But I haven't made a gumbo with the crab yet. But usually a lot of times I just make shrimp gumbo instead of buying a Dungeness crab and doing all that, cleaning the crab. But I really love Dungeness crab and putting a Dungeness crab in the gumbo. I don't even like putting the other types of crabs in the gumbo. It's like I always am like, no, I gotta have Dungeness. I mean, you can put other kinds in there, but it's just not the same. Like when you put king crab in there, that means like sweet. When you put a paleo in there, it's kind of okay, but it's just not the same as putting a Dungeness crab in a gumbo. It's just different. To me, the texture and everything of the gumbo is just different. But I make other kind of gumbo. Some people, they don't like seafood, and it's okay. So I make chicken gumbo, shrimp with no shrimp in it. Put chicken instead, just turkey and chicken. Or some people like to put shredded chicken in their gumbos or in their jambalaya. They just prefer it shredded. I'm not a big fan of shredded. I like to dice it up. I make a chicken gumbo or a chicken jambalaya. I like to chop it up and feel like I'm eating something. Little chunks. I don't feel like I'm eating something hearty meal, like I'm eating something hearty. Some people like to shred the meat and stuff. They prefer it that way. That's going on pretty good now. We got it going right here. I'll push those peppers down. The thing with this is you can kind of play with the water, but if you put too much water, you're gonna lose all your. It's not gonna have the flavor. If you put too much water in there, when it boils down, so you gotta kind of pay attention to it. Because I follow the direction on what they say, but I usually add more stuff than what it says because I like a lot of stuff in my food. If I use the instant one, I do it how I do it, and then I eyeball the water and stuff. And I've done cooked it like this in other ways so many times and made it myself from scratch so many times. I just know from eyeballing it what's happening. That's just part of cooking. That's why some chefs are really amazing because they literally it's the feel and they just kind of have and they know how much or whatever to put in. They have the measurements, but then when they get to a certain amount of time of doing it, they just know by eyeball. They're like that's the amount, and they can just scoop it and put it because they know how much that tastes like. They've done it so many times. That's why, like, someone asked me, they said, "Well, how much do you put in?" I said, "I don't really." They said, "It tastes really good. How much do you put in?" I said, "I don't know. I just kind of like sort of by eyesight because I've done it so many times." I'm like, it's about this much. So then I had to one person I had to go online and find someone else, another person's like recipe, and be like, how much did they put in? And I'm like, hey, it's about that much, and then you're gonna have to season it to your taste, Because I was like, I don't know, they might not, But they're like, it didn't taste like yours, and I was like, well, that's the thing when people cook something for you, everybody's just like when you tie flies. It's like everybody kind of has their own little touch, kind of on the same pattern. So like, if someone says, "Here, this is a pattern I made," and someone else tries to tie it, it doesn't quite look like that person's, but it's the same color and the shape, the proportions are going to be a little. Because it's from that person's hand. And even ones you buy, it's because usually they're coming from one person or two people only. They're for that company a lot of times, and they just tied a crap ton of. So it's kind of funny, you know? And it's they want them uniform, and so it's kind of funny when you're cooking stuff yourself, homemade or tying lures and stuff, because it's kind of your touch, your hand move, and the way you tie it is different than someone else, but you're getting almost the same product. So it's just the profiles are a little different, just like when you cook. Sometimes someone else made you gumbo, might not taste good. Or jambalaya don't taste good. And another person makes you it, and you're like, this is the best I ever had. It's just it's kind of funny how that is. It's kind of how it is when you're cooking stuff, or even tying lures, and it's your hand, your thought process of how you do it might not be how the other person does it. Coffee. Yeah, the trick is to get it to reduce down enough, and so the rice basically sucks up all the water, starts to get soft, but not so soft to where it turns to mush. Some people like it that way though. You know, I like the rice. It's like a little bit softer than al dente type style because it's rice. But some people like it mush when they cook their rice, or they like it just like it's just mush. I like it where it's like it's got a shape to it. It's not just squished mush. Like when you scoop it, it's rice is can kind of like fall off your spoon. And as you can see the rice is getting a little bigger looking. Peppers are starting to getting soft now, and as you see the water, the juice is reducing down, and that was as reducing down. It's going into all that rice, all the flavors, all that stuff I put in there, and the basil leaf or the bay leaf is going into that stuff. So it's pretty much almost done already. Yeah, it's pretty much done. The rice, it's like soft now. Well, just right. Just want to make sure that the meat gets done. Remember, I was talking about that pork, but this isn't pork. This is turkey. But sometimes they mix the turkey with pork, so it has a little bit of like a fat content because turkey's hella lean. So it's a hella lean burger. Yep. And it's time for the shrimps. And you get these frozen shrimps, and if you still feel they're frozen, you're gonna have to let it cook a little bit longer than you want the shrimps, because otherwise your jambalaya is gonna taste a little funny. From the shrimp, it's gonna taste a little weird because the water that came off the packaging of the shrimp, I kind of rinsed them off already, but I can feel there's a little frost on them, just a little bit of frost on them. They're soft, but there's a little frost on them, and that kind of makes it taste. You can kind of taste it if you pay attention. So you got to make sure to cook it, like really cook that down. But you'll kind of notice that, hey, this isn't quite done, because you have to make sure it's warm enough to, because you can see that little water in there. You can actually taste that in your food. If you cook enough and pay attention, you can taste that in your food. When you make this, so you gotta make sure they get cooked good, the shrimp. But it should only take like 6 minutes or so to get cooked. Shrimp cook really fast, super fast, but you don't want to overcook them. But 6 minutes they should be done. Just trying to mix a little, because you want them to get that flavor. You want them to get that southern flavor on them. Yeah. The reason why I make it like this is I want to feel like I wanted the vegetables that kind of have a slight crunch to them. It's just barely, like they're soft, but they just got a little, because like, you want to get the vitamins out of that. And then when you microwave it, it's every time you microwave it, it's gonna get softer when you microwave it. So it's always better like the next day, after it's done and you let it sit and you cook it. To me, it tastes better. It starts to taste even better because you're reheating it and finishing. You're like finishing cooking the vegetables almost, finishing it all. And yeah, this is kind of like gonna be like a. I'll be eating on this for like a couple of days or two. So that's another reason I'll be eating on this for like a day or two. So I'm not concerned. I like eat like a bowl of this and I'll toss it in the refrigerator. Put it down in there now. Yeah, it's getting done real quick. Just a little bit. And then cover it. Yeah. You don't want it to just be no water in there, because then when you get ready to reheat, when you get ready to cook this, like microwave that, it'll just be like dry. you won't have nothing to cook in, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, just a dab. It just needs enough to cook this last little bit. Get it warmed up again because I kind of turned it down. And then get it low. Yeah, it's pretty much almost done. Give it like 5 minutes and then we'll see what it looks like. And I put it in a bowl and see what it tastes like. We'll see what it tastes like. We cooking. Cooking it up, gotta cook it up. Run cooking it up. Yak about trees, cooking it up. Yeah, the choice was make a chicken soup, the gumbo, a shrimp gumbo, or just I'll make it. Yeah, I'm gonna make a chili eventually here, but just haven't gotten around to making a chili. But I'm gonna make a chili too. Eventually, live chili, put the cheese and everything. Always try to clean up after yourself while you're cooking, so you don't have a bunch of stuff, as much stuff to sweep up and keep your space clear. One more. That's my second cup of coffee just today. Probably have 3 cups. I'll be good. Like I said last time, I might try something, I might not. I don't know. Reveal. It is a weekday. Most people are going to work right now. Just getting up and stirring, depending on where you are. Just stirring. forgot to put a little dash of avocado oil, like oil type of oil. Kind of helps with it. Should I put it in earlier? Should be fine. Avocado oil ain't gonna hurt you. And people oil pans with this stuff. Just a little bit. It kind of helps it. A little bit of olive oil or vegetable oil. I like to use avocado oil. I think it kind of helps it stick to the stuff stick to the rice. It's okay because it's still kind of cooking. You can see them shrimps are all curled up now. It's pretty much done. And there you go. Perfect timing, right? Perfect timing. Yeah, I usually time it to kind of while I'm doing everything to keep track of it. Even though they give you a time on those boxes of that stuff, I have like my own timing of how when I should be like I'm done. And this is it. I'm done pretty much. If you look, the shrimps are all curled up, so you don't want to overcook them. But they're really close to being almost like they're gonna overcook, but they're good. They're like just right. Just curled up. Don't take them the whole time though. Yeah. Get the seasoning. Got a bunch of seasoning sitting up here. And measuring cups and stuff. So that's jambalaya. Let's see if I can move this so you all can see and not drop it. And not drop y'all in the pot. We're gonna turn it off. Still kind of going, but it's pretty much done. Just leave it covered and it's still warm on there. It's still cooking technically, even though I turned it off. So if I cover it, it'll finish cooking. Get some of the little bit more of that water out of it. But that's what I'm saying. You can leave just a little bit in there, and that's so when I microwave it, when I get ready to eat it later, and I microwave it tomorrow, it'll be like just right. It'll be really good. Really good. Got my bowl. I'm gonna have a taste of this in a second. Look like Money Bass is on. I'm just looking looking through real quick at who some people jumping on live right now. Not a brand, okay. Go from zero to efficient. Yes. What he got? Look like he got like the live scope already.
See, we have time to get this thing set up real quick.
He over here.
What is that?
Everybody over here. Man, they look cold though. See, it's all light over there. That's over on the east over there towards the east coast right now. Let's see. Who else fishing right now? Anybody else fishing right now? I don't see nobody else. So, buying space she's on. Let's see what she's talking about. I'm talking about you buying space.
Had her out in the hospital. I know that feeling. I've been in the hospital.
Yeah.
One time for 7 weeks and couldn't walk.
Yeah.
And it was just
She's always has different items and stuff. She kind of sells and does stuff.
I might bring it up.
You don't mind, right? Oh, you don't mind.
Like I'm stupid, like I'm this, that, and the other.
Man, so many content creators.
I know they're
all different things and other things.
Everybody's being an actor. I think
I've experienced firsthand crazy student stuff. We're cooking. We just finished cooking. And I'm about to have a bowl. I'm going to put it in this bowl. I just finished cooking, so we're going to put this in a bowl and see what we got. We're going to see what we got. Trying to get some rice, man. Important to put enough meat in there so you don't. It's not just all rice. Trying not to scrape this non-stick with a spoon because it will take that Teflon on. Set that there. Watch out for this power bank over here. There it is. There it is, y'all. Delicious. There it is, man. Shrimps in there. Bay leaf. We want to try it. Hot. It's piping hot too. Oh yeah. Yeah. Not too hot. Just the right spices in there. It's a little bit spicy, but not too spicy. Got the gumbo file in there. A little bit of cayenne. A little bit of black pepper. Got the herbs in there. Yeah, this is good. I wish you were here right now eating this. This is like my breakfast, basically. It's gonna be my lunch for later too. I'll be eating on this for like a day or two. Yeah, man. Pretty good. Got garlic in there, red onions. Yep, turkey sausage, green bell pepper, celery. I forgot to put okra. I had some frozen okra. I forgot to put okra in it. That would have been really. Oh yeah, I knew I forgot. Yes, yeah. Forgot something. I forgot to put the okra. Still really good. Man, that came out good. Yeah, it came out really good. See, the bay leaves were dried, but now they're all that flavor from the bay leaves is in there now. Just put 2 bay leaves in it, 2 cloves of garlic, like half of a turkey sausage, a little over half of a turkey sausage. Sometimes I use like the spice. Sometimes I use the hot links, like the hot links. If I want it really hot, but it's hot enough with like a little gumbo file, a little bit of black pepper, and some cayenne, and like you can add a dash of paprika. And it's pretty spicy right there. Too hot. Some people can't handle too hot, so. But right now it's like just right. It's like just the right hot. So like by the time I finish this bowl, I'm gonna be sweating just enough, just barely, just barely. But it's really good. It's not so spicy to where I was like, oh man, I can't eat it. It's just spicy enough to by the time I'm done with this bowl, if you saw how much I put in there, I'll be like, ooh, I'm warm. Perfect for a cold day. It's frosty outside over here around here. We don't have any snow in the area I'm in. But we've been getting a lot of frost the last like 5 days. That kind that sits on the street, so when you walk out down the driveway, you be worried about slipping, so you might want to put a little salt down, just so if you're going to your car in the morning, you don't want to fall on your face. That's kind of what we got going on in Washington right now. We're just in the area I'm at. In the mountains, it's snow though. Like the pass right now, there's snow up there. Like 30 minutes for me to go out there. Like a 30-minute drive. I haven't even been up there this year at all. Delicious. I'm gonna get more hungry. That made me more hungry for more. It's like that good. I love cooking like Southern food. You know? My family's from from Louisiana, from the Southern states. But we live out here. I live over here. I ain't visited in a minute. I was talking. I was laughing because one day he was on his stream and he was talking about it. And I was like, "You talking about?" He was. I knew he was talking about me. And he was like, "You ain't come home yet." Like, basically, you ain't come home to Louisiana. I'm like, "Well, I was born here, but technically, that's like home away from home, but home because that's where the roots comes from. It's from out there, fishing ponds and largemouth bass and channel catfish and big bluegills and brim and stuff. But here we got bluegill, we got some brim out here, but kind of got to go around looking for them. Got some pumpkin seed and decent fishing. I've caught some pumpkin seed in the winter around here. When in the boat though, it was on a friend's boat. We were fishing. Which I haven't heard from her. I don't know what happened to her. She kind of vanished on me. But we would go out there, and I was really into the bass fishing and the light finesse bass fishing. So for smallmouth and stuff, and I've caught some really large ones fishing finesse style. And I went out there and I showed her. I was like, "This is how you catch them like this." Show her how to catch those. She's like, "You know how to catch those?" Yeah. Because for a long time I was obsessed with smallmouth bass. And then I'm close to one of the best smallmouth bass fisheries in the whole dang state. So besides like a couple other ones that are up way up north, like Lake Whatcom used to be really good. I heard some stuff happen though to that lake. They were having issues or something with that lake, and mercury and some other stuff was going on with that lake. And then Moses Lake got some pretty good smallmouth, a largemouth in there. Potholes area, and those little, some of them little water culverts they got out there. There's fish in there. There's trout and stuff in there. Good fly fishing in there. You can fly fish there. Some of those areas. What's that place called? Banks Lake's a pretty good smallmouth fishery too. It's a really good trout, pretty good trout fishery. And it's got some, and they got whitefish out there. It's a pretty good smallmouth fishery. I don't know if they get as big as the ones. I haven't seen a lot of big. I've seen some big ones, but I don't know if they get as big as the ones that came out of the lake here, because the lake over here it's got coho salmon, king salmon, smallmouth bass, perch, bullhead catfish, crappie, those sculpins, bullheads, sculpins. It's got pumpkin seed, bluegill. They might even have bowfins. I've never caught one. Oh, it's got walleye in it now. They're invasive. Somehow they got in the lake. It's got walleye in it now. Not a lot of them, but there's a few walleye they got in there. Somebody must have. I think somebody dropped them in there from there. They brought them from Eastern Washington or something, because we got walleye in Eastern Washington in some of the lakes over there. I bet you someone put it in their live well and brought them over here and threw them in the lake to see if we'll get walleye over here. Got rock bass, green sunfish are in there. So almost everything in the whole state is in there. Even sturgeon is in there in that lake. I've never caught one, but I've seen dead one before floating around. Even sturgeon are in that lake. So suckerfish, large scale suckerfish, squawfish, pike minnows. There's like a type of a chub that's in there. There's a bunch of different stuff in that lake. And that lake connects to a whole nother lake, and there's a slough that runs in between. So a lot of forage for the fish. They chase and eat the baby salmon. There's cutthroat trout in there, rainbow trout, cutbows. Dolly Varden are in there. Bull trout are in there. It's got a little bit of everything in that lake. It's just a matter of finding them where they're at. And then when spring comes, it's so fun. I'm never sure what I'm gonna catch when it's spring there, because I catch stuff that I didn't catch all summer, all year, and then I go in the spring, and then I'm like, oh, I caught a rainbow trout over here, and then I caught a cutthroat in this one spot, and then I caught a bass back neck right after I caught that, and then I caught a carp. And there's common carp and grass carp in there allegedly. I've caught common carp out of there once. There's a little bit of everything in that lake. Some really big carp I've seen, and people don't target them in there. So we got some carp that probably like 20, 30 pounds in there. I think there's a state record in there, because I've seen some really big carp in the spring just gorging themselves wallowing in the sand on the flats and stuff on that lake, and nobody fishes for them. I've only caught like one or two, and they were always small, and all the big ones just like ignored my baits and stuff. I should probably try like a pack bait or something. Morning. Hey, Sora. Yep. I was cooking. I'm on my second bowl of food. I'm on my second bowl of food already. Yeah, you can see. That's a shrimp and sausage jumbo. It's really good. Good. I'm just talking and eating. Yeah, shrimp gumbo, or shrimp jambalaya, turkey sausage, green bell peppers, celery, red onion, thyme, a little bit of gumbo file, a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of dill, a little dash of cilantro, a bit of cilantro, 2 bay leaves, 2 cloves of garlic, green onion, green bell pepper, and then 1 whole red onion, and then 1 small shallot. Lots of flavors in there. That's really good, and it's frosty and cold out, and I'm like warm now from eating it because it's got the spices in it. Definitely good for a cold day, cold morning. Some people don't like shrimp, and you can make it with chicken. You can make chicken jambalaya. You can make just sausage jambalaya. I forgot to put okra. I keep forgetting to put okra. I have some too. I forgot to get it out and make it, put it in. Still really good. See, I'm like, it's done cleared my sinuses. Just the right amount of spice where it's hot enough. Just hot enough. For a cold day, like a frosty cold day. Nice bowl of, like a little bit of spicy jambalaya. Yeah. You'll be nice and warm. Yeah. So this is the morning time. I eat weird foods at weird times. Like I don't eat like normal, like some people like. I'll eat, I'll have a soda and something for breakfast sometimes. But I don't drink tons of soda, but I'll have like a soda and eat a meal for breakfast. I eat kind of weird. I have a weird schedule sleep now, and I have a weird food thing. But I usually try to eat like organic, like it's like I think these are organic bell peppers. Sausage is like this turkey sausage, so it's like or turkey, sausage, so it's like shrimp, but everything else is pretty much organic stuff that's in here. Jambalaya. End up putting that in the fridge. Trying to get this Keurig to work right now. It's like not. Keep trying to put water in my. Keep trying to get my coffee to work. And I tried it once and I tried to refill it. It's not refilling right now, and I don't know why. But yeah, I was just talking about the fishing and like it's cold. If I had a boat right now, yeah, I'd be fishing. I wouldn't be fishing right now. I'd probably go out at like 12, 11 o'clock in the day and go troll around or something. I went and I can see the lake from like not that far from me. So like I can actually see the boats on the lake from where I'm at. I have like a little vantage point. I think I showed it on live like a while ago. I have like a little vantage point where I can go and see, and so I can see people in the little area of the lake from like on this hill. I can like kind of walk down to it, so I can look and see if anybody's fishing on this end of the lake, on this side where I'm kind of at, sort of. That's the only thing that's cool that I like about me moving back to where I live. Is like I'm like, oh, the lake's like right there. And lake's like 15-minute drive. I'm like, it's like right there. Salmon River's 20 minutes away from me. So it's kind of a nice, and then there's a nice fly fishing river. It's 8 minutes away. It's like, I got these 3 places I can go like right away, and one has tons of different types of fish in it. Just they shut down the river till spring, till like June. It'll be shut down till June. And they do that because the salmon run in that river also, and they're trying to protect them. They got sockeye in here, so they're trying to protect them. Woo. Yeah, it done gave me a runny nose. Evan G. I see a fish on there. I can barely make out. It looks like a smallmouth or something. Is that a rainbow? I'm looking at one of the people that came in the chat. I can barely make out the fish on there, the little icon. Yeah, but if you're stopping through, drop a like. Jambalaya. And I'll show you a couple things before I get off of here, off this live. Show you guys this little extra thing here. Two little extra things I got. Just something fishing outside of the food. Outside of food. I was telling another YouTuber, we were talking about flies and stuff, and she ties live, and we were talking about these things, the parkour bracelets. I got a Slurpee one. I got a bunch of those, little survival bracelets. Yeah, 7-Eleven actually had one. Actually had a cool little bracelet. Survival bracelet thing. And last thing before I get off here is, and I'll show it, even though I'm at the kitchen area, trying to do the secure, get it to work. I'll show this thing. I'll show this real quick. I think I got space. I can kind of show it if I don't make this fall down first. This stuff's pretty good too, black garlic. It's like, I don't like smoked garlic. Because this is like the little mini bug out bag. I'll show it right here, even though it's in the kitchen. It's nice. Where I live, I can do what I wanted. No parkour. This thing's pretty dope. It's a spoon and a knife. It comes apart. It's like a survival thing. They come apart, and then you have a knife. It's pretty cool. They come apart, and it's got a bottle opener. It's pretty cool. And then you put it back together like that. And when you put the spoon down, that locks it back together. It's from Colombia. It's pretty really dope. Not sponsored by these guys or anything, but I got picked up one of these. It's pretty cool. And I just threw it in here. It's like something else to have in here. Little bug out bag thing. It's just a knife. Door. It's got a door. It's got a glass tap. So if your car went in the water, you can punch the glass with this. And it's a knife. So this would be a good bug out bag, I think, just to have in your car. Just to have a bunch of different stuff. Flashlight. It's got for your canteen. It's got the thing for your canteen too. It's just got a bunch of different things in it. It's got a hatchet, like a mini hatchet with a hammer. Got it from Temu. I was kind of like not sure what it was gonna be like, and I don't, I'm kind of weird about, kind of skeptical of some of the stuff from Temu, the quality, certain things. But this is alright, and it has pliers built into it. Bunch of tools, saw. Bunch of tools built into it. It's pretty cool. Like just as a survival thing, like a little mini survival kit to have. If you had to, kind of have a few things you can use. A spoon, even though I added this in, but turns into a knife with another bottle opener and a whistle. Yeah, I thought this thing was kind of neat. I was like, it's got a little bit of everything. And it had doubles of some other things, and I'm like, oh, it's like shovel. It's got a shovel in there. Boom, boom. Got like a little mini shovel and a pick. And then I think I only paid like 20 bucks or something for it. 30 bucks. It wasn't that bad. And then got it out, and I was like, actually, it's pretty decent quality. The stuff they gave me in here, and then you got your little medical stuff. your gauze, so you can make like a little tourniquet, the little rubber band, alcohol pads, scissors, the typical stuff that's in the first aid kit. Glow sticks, emergency glow sticks. I don't know if they work though. I haven't tried them yet. Space blanket thing, the emergency blanket where you can make all kind of stuff. I have another one. I need to put it in here with it so there's two. Better to have extra stuff than not. Fire starters, more cordage, saw wire, fishing. It's even got the little mini fishing, and there's a little shrimp in there. It's got like a little mini. It's like a little mini shrimp lure. They put it through in there, and these little things, little bobbery, like little mini stops. It's kind of neat, and a couple little bullet sinkers. Like, and I think you get like two size of hooks. I think I'm gonna throw some extra hooks in it just for. Hope I never have to use it. And then your flint, your little flint deal, so you can start the fire with it. And then you got like a little measurer. So they give you a little bit of everything in this kit. I didn't like this because of so this is the part I was talking about, the quality of. That kind of came loose right away, but I was like, well, who's gonna worry about that when you're trying to survive out somewhere and you're running away from some disaster, right? You're not gonna be worried about a little tear right there and your little bug out thing. But this would be, I think this is a cool little one that you could put in your car to just have, and you could add some extra stuff to it. Like I did, I just added a little extra stuff to it. Probably gonna take this thing out though, and put it in a bigger bag, type of bag, so I can I want to make one my own for, so I can have like a canteen and stuff. I want to make my own, so I can kind of carry with me fishing, because I have a fishing bag, but I don't have space to have like a canteen and all that stuff. So I need to get one that can it's like a real kind of camping, hiking kind of one. I'm gonna kind of put one together with some of the same stuff that's in here, but some extra things for like safety. Some little extra things for like safety stuff. Because you get out in the woods and bears and other things are out there. And I want to carry couple other things. Because usually when I go, if I do go fishing or somewhere like that, all I carry is a pocket knife. I don't even carry a firearm or anything. I just carry a pocket knife, and I try to make myself look big. Because I've ran across cougars. I was talking about in one of my lives. I ran across cougars before, and I wasn't even out in the countryside. I was literally 15 minutes from my house, just walking. Yes, the smallmouth, man. I love smallmouth. I love smallmouth fishing. It's my favorite one. It's my favorite fish to catch. I might have a picture. Is I still on? Yes, yeah. Yeah, this was a while ago. Smallmouth I got. This was quite a bit ago. That date's actually wrong. It wasn't in 2008, but that was a while ago. The picture got water damage to it. I wear a size 12 shoe, if that gives you kind of how big that fish was. That was a fun day. That was a really fun day. That was like early June, I think, when I caught that fish. And I caught 3 that day. I was just like, I was in a park. I went to this park, and I like hiked the park in this little area where there's these docks, and where there's a dock. It's like a dock and it splits and then it has a drop off to it. And a lot of smallmouth come in there and a lot of all kinds of fish come in there because that drop off's there. Yes, yeah, that was a little, yeah, bigger than my shoe. My size 12. Not the biggest one, but it was a nice plump fish. And that area, like a lot of times I fish there, and I'm probably gonna be on live eventually, and I'll be fishing there for some bass eventually. It's known to have bass, but a lot of people don't. It's known to have bass there, but some people don't know there's bass there. So when you catch a bunch of them, you know how it is. They go, wait a minute, what? And then that brings the fishing pressure in. So I know when I fish there, when I film it, when I do the live there, if I catch a bunch of nice ones, that's what's gonna happen. That spot's gonna be like I might not be able to fish there like for a little bit. It might get because people might know the landmarks, so and they're gonna realize like there's big fish there, you know, they're gonna swarm that spot. It's happened to me before. There's another spot I fished in. I caught like 6 smallmouth. One was like 5 pounds, a couple 3 pounders, and like a couple 1 pounders. And I was throwing them on back, and people saw that because it's like a frequented area, but most people don't fish. They fish, but they don't expect fish that size in that area because you can see in the water. The water's pretty clear, and like I saw the people look at me, and then I went like 2 days later, went on the weekend, and it was like people everywhere. I was like, where do all these people come from? I guess the word got out, and like there were so many people fishing. I was like, oh man, I was like, my spot's overrun now. This is kind of how it is with fishing, and then everybody's like trying to catch the thing that you caught, and sometimes they don't catch it, but they saw the area you caught it, and so they swarm the area, and that's kind of what happened. Yeah, I got this thing working. It's cute. That's kind of what happens sometimes. It's just part of fishing. Everybody's got their right to fish and do their thing, but that's just kind of what happens sometimes if you catch. Same thing happens sometimes in salmon fishing too. Like when you're fishing like a hole or something, and then nobody's really catching one, and then you get onto one, and then you get onto another one, and you start getting onto the fish every 6 casts or something. Then everybody kind of like starts moving closer to you and closer to like they're fishing another hole up or slot in front of you and up near you, and then it seems like they're getting inching closer to you. You're like, I think that guy was like 40 feet away. It seems like now he's like 10 feet away. That kind of happens. It ain't nothing. It's just part of the fishing when you fish in areas where there's a lot more people. Where there's the cities kind of near adjacent or the suburbs like adjacent where it's trafficked and a lot of people like, walking and hiking those areas. Yeah, I have too, but a lot of times I just like because I fish this one spot. It's everybody knows about it. It's posted online. Everybody knows, and I've known about it for forever, and so everybody knows it's there. And so a lot of people just drive. Some people just drive right by it, and it's a nice little hole, and it's got It's got like 4 spots on it. So there's like a smaller slot on it, like a little slot hole, and then there's like a bigger one with a flat, like a slot, like a hole in a like a run kind of to it, but it's tidal and it's got like a flat, and that flat don't have much snags, so people always fish there because it don't have much snags, so they can drift it, and so that spot's always full of people. But sometimes in the beginning of the season, it's just packed, so you might not even be able to get in there in the morning to even get a spot. And then there's another spot where the river has a choking point, but it's all rock bottom. It's like a big slab, and so when the water changes, it makes that water skinny and in a big hole, a big old hole. So there's just the salmon just stack up in there, and people just have a heyday fishing. So it's just you're combating like all these people because there's so many fish in there, and that's one of those spots like that where you're just like I just like avoid that spot and I go to the next one like down the road. But then that one gets like that too, and if you start catching, people kind of like what's going on. But this year I went late, so I was like the only one. I was like, there was like 3 anglers. I was like, there's nobody here. There's salmon jumping. There's a video of it, and I'm just casting a spinner. And I started late. The run was almost over. I only had like 2 or 3 weeks before the fish wouldn't be in that area. And I got one. I got a coho out of there on a Twitch jig. So that was good. I was happy. I was like, well, I got one. I went again. Still not feeling too well, but I went again like but I waited a little too long. I went again, and there was some. I saw some chums. I was wearing my Polaroid glasses, so I seen some chums come by, chum salmon also, and most of the coho were gone out of that hole. They weren't hanging around there anymore, but there was only like one other person, and then those fish were gone. They were upriver after that because I started so late. Usually I'd be there like early end of August or the very first week, last week of August, or and then fished from September to October. But I got there like last week of October, and those fish are pretty much gone by the first week of November. They're kind of be out of there by the first 2 weeks of November. They're gone out of that area. They're not. You might get lucky and catch a streak coho or something that comes into that spot because it's coming off the ocean. But nah, I went the last time and there was fish, but their seals ruined it, so I didn't go. I didn't go back. I was like, most of the fish are out of here, and the seals are chasing the chum salmon. And I was fishing, and then I was like, I'm not catching any, and I didn't see none rolling, and then I saw there were seals everywhere, and I said, oh, the seals are eating all the fish. That's why I'm not catching anything. I was like, the seals are chasing the fish around in the hole I'm fishing. So I was like, well, that's done. I got some footage of it too, a little bit. I caught one of them coming up, and I got a video partially of it, and I like almost knocked the camera down, but I haven't been able to retrieve the footage from my camera because I wasn't able to go live at that time. But now I can. But the run's over. It's more steelhead or trout, or find somewhere you can get on a boat or find a river with some fish, some steelhead or something in it. I'm not sure if I even want to get out in this cold and do it. Driving around in this frosty weather. But yeah, sometimes it's like that, like you catch one and everybody they just move in on you. It's always funny though when that happens though, because sometimes you're on the right tactic, they're not. So like they get right up on you, but they're not. You're still catching. I just will show people. So I'll just be like, hey, put this on or try this. A lot of times it's just like they want to catch stuff, and some people they don't fish a ton. So to them it's like, whoa, you caught a 5-pounder right there, and I fished here, and they never, they might have fished in that spot just like you, and they never caught one there, and then you just walk in there and take 6 or 7 casts, and you pull a big fish out, and that's always, they're like an amazement, and then it kicks in the fishing bug for them, and that's always fun. And then they're, man, that's what happened to me when I was a kid. I saw someone fishing and they pulled out this big old fish. And I was like, I fished there with my dad and I never caught. And then the person was like, they're in here like this. And then after that, I was like on a mission to target like the bigger fish in that lake and everything. And dialed in, and eventually I figured out what was going on, and I started catching them, and I was so happy. And then I became that person where I was just like, oh yeah, look at this. It became like a normal thing to expect to catch one somewhere, wherever I would fish on that lake after that, because I just kind of knew what that fish wanted. So that's the cool thing about fishing, and kind of show other people, other fishermen who are learning or who fishes often. Let's go. Look at here. Yeah, that jambalaya got me my nose running. It got me. I'm warmed up and everything. Got my coffee. Got my coffee. Pecan coffee going, like butter pecan coffee. Ooh man, it got me. I'm awake. I'm warm. Spices in there got me warmed up. I'm all alert now. Been up since like 45. I woke up with like partially asleep. Got a notification from someone else going live, and then I kind of woke me up. It was like at 1:30, and I kind of started stirring. Usually I'm up anyway, but I started stirring, and I was like, I'm up now. It's 2:45. I'm up. I'm gonna cook. So I started prepping everything and cook some jambalaya, and I hope whoever was able to see it enjoyed it. Whoever did tune in. Some people kind of stopped in, dropped a like, took on off. But hope they enjoyed it, and they can always watch it on the replay once it posts, and see what I was doing. And I was making my coffee and trying to get this Keurig machine to work properly. And yeah, I might tie flies later today. I don't know. I know the other people in the house is gonna start stirring. It gets hard to try to tie sometimes when they start stirring and they start doing what they need to do for the day, and it gets hard to kind of tie and be talking to people and explaining what's going on. Maybe I'll take a walk in the ice frost or something and do a little mini live or something. Different scenery again, other than just being in the house and cooking and tying flies. Maybe go do something else. Do a little mini adventure. A little mini adventure. But yeah. I see there's one person in the chat. I don't know who. I don't know if that's Evan or who. Oh, Dean. Organic Machine Dean. It be me. It be you. I see you. Yeah, if you saw me cooking up, I don't know if you were here from when you came in the beginning. It was I didn't wait for nobody to filter in. I just started cooking. Made the jambalaya. Oh, it's all done. I finished it. It's all done. You'll be able to watch it on the replay if you came in after it was already said and done. Once it posts, you know how it goes. It's gonna take almost 24 hours for that thing to post. But yeah, I made that. I still one thing I forgot was the okra. I was like, I said it too. I was like, what did I forget? And I paused for a minute and then I just kept going. And I was like, okra. Then after it was all done, I'm like, okra. It's like I forgot the okra again. We got we got a green bell pepper, red onion, shallots, turkey sausage, celery, green onion, a little bit of thyme, cilantro, a little bit of sage, cayenne pepper, black pepper, and then some gumbo file. Just Zatarain's gumbo file to give it a little heat to it. And yeah, that's why I'm like, and I put a little dash of dill in there. I like to add a little bit. If I use any store bought one or anything like that, I like to add a little something in there to kind of, because they already put some seasoning in there, but I want like a little fresher taste than it's been it's just like I want fresh. If I don't make it from scratch, totally from scratch, that's what I do. Like, because they have this kind too. It's like for the gum. This is like for the gumbo, the base, the Cajun gumbo base, and then it tells you how to make it. But I mean, it's just all it is just browned flour in a pan. They just brown the flour, and then all you're doing is you're just adding the seasonings to get that gumbo, taste. Oh, and there's two bay leaves. So you'd add 2 bay leaves. That's basically what's probably already in here, but that's probably what's already basically in here. And like, yeah, there's like onion in it. I see. Yeah, it's kind of like what's already in these things, but it's nicer when you put some fresh, And I added 2 cloves of garlic in there. Yeah, and a dash of oregano, a little bit of oregano, just a little bit. But that's just, that's basically what's in that. What's in gumbos. It's getting the taste. It's getting the flavor right, and getting the bay leaves in there. The bay leaves is like the big part of the gumbo. Is having some, if you're keeping some dried bay leaves around or fresh bay leaves around. That's like the big part of getting that flavor that flavor down. Especially if you make it from scratch, you can even make it from scratch. You can take a you can take a you can because that's what's in this. You can take Old Bay too, but you got to remember it's salt. There's salt in there, so you can't use too much when you make it. If you take your flour and brown it, and then you add your water, you add your cold water to it, stir it up, and then you add that little bit of Old Bay for the flavor, and it'll have that gumbo-y kind of flavor to it. And then you add your spices, your other spices and herbs to kind of get that gumbo flavor. And that's kind of if you did it when you do it more from scratch, but takes longer. Or if you make a jambalaya, it's kind of you can kind of do it that way too. But or you can make a red gumbo with with you could take like tomato paste or tomatoes and make like make a red jambalaya where it's like a red color, and then you make the rice separate, and, it's almost like it's like a gumbo, and you pour the sauce over you, and then you can just pour the jambalaya like sauce like over the rice, kind of like a gumbo, but it's a little different flavor to it. I make it like that sometimes from scratch, but that's when I want something with like tomato. I want something like tomato saucy, like a tomato sauce type of jambalaya. And when I make that, it's like more from scratch type of thing. And I put like diced tomatoes in there. Yeah, I get like I can't reach it. I can't reach over this thing. You just get like a. These aren't the best ones for it. Probably want regular. You probably want regular diced tomatoes, but these are like I love the fire roasted diced tomatoes. They're so good. Taste so good. And then you just get your little can of tomato paste. And then get your bay leaf in there, your onion, your okra, your get your shallot, cut a little piece of shallot in there, a little cayenne pepper, dash of gumbo file. You're kind of in business. You got your little jambalaya sauce going right there. You just got to get that. You just want those spices to get that jambalaya flavor going. And that's the part when you do it from scratch is getting the right amount of the seasonings in there to get it to taste like that. I was kind of talking about it earlier too. Like after you do it a bunch of times, you kind of just eyeball it and you kind of know how it's going to taste. So everybody does it a little different. So, but you kind of know. They're like, oh, I only need to put this much in, and I never measure it out really. I just kind of know the measurement from eyeballing it, and I know how it's going to taste. But when someone says, "Give me your recipe," or something, you're like, I'm always like, I can't. I have to. I was like, I have to go Google someone else's recipe and kind of be like, okay, this is kind of amount I kind of sort of put, but not really. Like my measurements are a little different because it's just how my taste buds are. So someone's like, your jambalaya tastes really good, or this tastes really good. What the heck you put in there? I'm like, I put basically the same things. It's my eyeball to the amount of spices and stuff to put in it versus like specifically a spoon. A teaspoon of this I didn't measure. I just kind of know because I made it so much. I just kind of know my own like how I want it to taste. That's why it's great when you home cook food, when you eat someone else's food. That's what's awesome about it because it's gonna be different because they made it with their hands. It's gonna have a different flavor. That's the cool part about it. You're like yours tastes different than mine. It's good, but I'm like, what did you put in there? And they're like, oh, I added a little bit more of this, so that tastes a little different. Same thing. I was talking about that. Same thing with time flies or something. It's the same thing. You're like, well, their hand their lure looks like this, and it's the same color pattern and everything. You're like, but it looks different when they make it versus when I made. I can like almost make it like how theirs looks, but it's not quite. It's just kind of how it is, and you can like get used to it and replicate it like theirs, but it's not quite the same. It's yours. It's kind of different still because your hands move differently than theirs. You're doing the same thing, but the way you think it should look might be a little different than how they think the same lure should look when you make the same pattern. that's what's cool about it. When you watch, so you watch someone else tying something, you're like, oh, look how they tied the woolly bugger versus how I tie it, you know. And then people have different vises and that they use, rotary vises, different stuff. So they tie it differently, different things to glue it, you know. So it's fun, kind of. Like I go to some people's lives too, and I kind of like laugh. I'm like, oh, you tie like that? Okay, that's cool. I was like, I'm not the best either, but I thought that's expert at this, but it's kind of funny. Like, you do that. That's a good way to do that. And I'm like, then I did something. I'm like, I'm the only one who does this like this. I haven't seen anybody do this. I do mine this way for some reason, and that's kind of cool. And it's kind of like you give that little tip to someone else, and then they add that into how they tie something, and then they have a little tip, and then something you saw in them, you add it into how you tie something, so then it kind of your own, but you do that little move like they do, and so then your fly kind of turns into its own little different thing, but it's still the same fly, say the same lure. That's what's cool about fly tying, because it's by hand. It's crafted by hand. I don't think when you tie something, it's pretty much by hand. So even with all the new gizmos and gadgets for tying that they make it easier, you still have to shoot with your hand for most of the stuff to create what you're creating. And I was talking to a guy yesterday because he happened to be up when I was up, and I went live after him. he was like, he said all that stuff by hand, and he's like, I don't know about that, and he's like, I don't get it, and I'm like, it's just crafting basically, craftsmen, hand crafts basically. I don't know if the newer generation, there's some out there, a lot of them coming out fishing and stuff, but I don't know, like it's more internet based. And we got all these apps and all this stuff at our fingertips now. It's just it's different. It's different. I think it wasn't Skeeter I was talking to. It was what's his name? The other guy. And he kind of, oh gosh, yeah. He's like, I'm not Skeeter. He's like, I'm not Skeeter. I was like, okay. And I was like, all right. But we were talking about fishing, and he was talking about football stuff. It was just weird. He was kind of talking about like how the kids don't, the younger generation now, like he's like they don't know nothing. He said if something goes wrong, they ain't gonna be able to. So half of them won't be able to start a fire. Half of them won't be able to chop wood. Half of them won't know what's safe to eat that's right outside their doorstep. He's like, because everything's on the internet. If that all goes down, what are they gonna do? They won't be, they won't have part of those skills. They're gonna be running. I was kind of thinking in my mind, I was like, yeah, they're going to be running around trying to get you because you're going to have those skills. They're going to be running around for those, trying to loot those people who do have those skills. That's what the preppers, the disaster preppers always, that's why they're always like, we got our weapons and we got our bunker. That's why they're like that, because they're like, yeah, those people are going to be trying to loot your stash and your resources that you've acquired. And so that's what their mind. That's why they're always. Whenever I watch some of the prepper ones, I'm always kind of cracking up about that. I'm like, yeah, that is a thought. That is the thought that could happen. But you would think you could. It would. I don't know. If you're near a suburb or a city, you'd probably still be all right though, because at least if you're the type who won't panic, you'd be all right still, because you could still, even if there was like stuff was scarce, you could still like scavenge the city for stuff. If stuff wasn't working, you could scavenge for materials and make things and do things from the new like, what do you call it? The certain manufactured materials that are just scrap laying around. You can make stuff. So you wouldn't totally be like, if you're smart enough, you weren't panicking or something. You'd be like, oh, I can make these things even if I don't have this stuff around in the city. That's another thing. You could be kind of like a scrapper and making stuff. You just be more worried about the other people who are panicking. That's why I was like, it wouldn't be that bad if you were like kind of just adjacent to the city. You could be like, oh, I can just like go in here and grab some stuff and then escape and escape, grab some stuff and make something, escape back to my little area. Yeah, that jambalaya got me. Ooh, I'm awake right now. My coffee. Yeah, some people do measure their spices though. Some people measure like they follow they make the recipe to a T. I always like if someone taught me a new recipe, I make it to how it is, and then I taste it and I go, oh, I need to add this. Just that's how I want it to taste. Add a little whatever I want to it because some people they don't like certain spices in their food, or some people don't like seafood, or some people don't like olives, or but they like something else, and then they might like something else that you don't like in their food. But I've started liking a lot of different foods that I didn't like before. I started learning, that saying, "Eat what's put before you." More so when you get certain stuff, hey, eat the thing to a certain extent. I was actually somebody put something in my food before, so that one I'm always cautious about that one. If I eat other people's food, I'm like, what do you want? I gotta watch you cook it. I need to see. Or if I go out to eat somewhere, I'm like really paying attention to how the staff acts when they bring my food. If I do ever eat out anywhere, which I hardly ever do. I hardly do buy fast food anymore because I'm always like, I don't know what they were doing in there because something happened. Someone put something in my food before, and it put me out of commission for a couple years. And I'm still kind of hurting from it, but I'm able to cook and kind of start fishing again and really get back to fishing again. So time of lures and spent a lot of time eating organic stuff and getting my vitamins right and everything just to kind of get to this point. So, you know, still having a little trouble, but some days, but it was better than it was. So can't complain. A little better than it was. A lot better than it was. Oh man. Oh, spices. But yeah, I think I'm gonna get out of here now. It's nice chatting. I'm glad some folks came in. Some people missed it. Some people caught parts of it, tail end of it. I think I'm gonna get out of here and go sit down and finish my coffee. And hope you enjoyed it. It was nice chatting with you. Organic Machine, Dean 333. Nice chatting. Thanks for coming in, dropping a like, and hanging out. Thank you, Evan G. Thanks for coming in. Surah, you came in, hung out for a little bit. You missed part of it, Surah, but you got some of it. Caden, you came in, hung out for a bit. Thanks for coming in, supporting, and checking out a nice little meal that I made. And hey, you can check it in the replay. All right, y'all. I'm out of here. You guys have a good morning wherever you are, wherever your location is.